Good evening and welcome to the third episode of our podcast, Xavier's Unplugged. Today we have a very special guest with us today, Miss Priyal Thakkar. So, to begin with, can we have a small introduction about yourself?
Um, Introduction basically, I grew up in Bombay. I've shifted about thrice in the city, and I've had most of my experience work wise, education, every little moment, mainly in Bombay. And so I've really sort of taken the city in, so to say. Um, I studied in Xavier's, graduated in 2008, and then I got into photography. I studied photography later, went on to start my company, and then got into photo art and painting. Painted my way through college in Xavier's. Then I've studied art history and curatorial studies at Dr. Baudaji Lal Museum. And then I've done a short course in visual art and photography at Rachna Sansad. And yeah, I mean, that's about my education. And then I'm work led to travel, and I started shooting my own sort of body of work. And then I had a background in painting as well. So I sort of decided to combine the two, and I came up with this concept of paintography. Started doing exhibitions. I had my first show at Jahangir Art Gallery. So it's been a very fruitful career, lovely journey, and my roots are definitely in Xavier's, and really sort of stemmed out from here. My experiences doing Malhar and Nostalgia, working as head of decor here in Nostalgia, and working in fine arts and graphics in Malhar. So these experiences have really enriched my life.
So, now can you tell us about your life in Xavier's? Like, what would be that one memory you're like really fond of? And overall, tell us about your experience in different fairs, how you met your set of friends, do you still have contacts with them, do you network with them?
So basically, in my first year, I couldn't participate in Malhar, and then I took part in my second year in graphics. So I have a background in painting. I took up painting when I was in just out of 10th standard. So basically, those were the most memorable times. BMS was also a great course to do. I'm a BMS alumni. So it was a lot of project work, a lot of group work, getting into groups and creating these films and doing these projects, doing research, doing say internships. So it was a lot of like moving around and hustling around. So it was very enjoyable as a course, and a lot of learning, the industrial visits within the city, outdoors, out of the city. It was a lot of fun, a lot of learning, a lot of on ground practical learning, I would say, for sure. And obviously, like the fests in the college, the different fests, the different events that happen, they really give you a platform to showcase your talents, to explore your talents. So I would be really active. I would attend all these workshops that would happen um, related to literature or fine arts, and I even took part in some dance festivals. So I was part of certain committees, the cultural committee. I think I was heading that for some time, and interacting with a lot of students in the BMS BMM department, and then Malhar. You obviously interacted with all the faculty, students. Um, so it was all about painting for me and a little bit of photography. I had a flair for painting, which got developed further, and obviously I owe my career to this experience that I had. And friends for life, I'm in touch with some of my batchmates. We have a group on WhatsApp. But we do catch up once in a while on a phone call or a WhatsApp text, or we're in touch on social media. So definitely like I've got some friends for life from Xavier's. So great memories. In fact, I see y'all working. I'm taken, transported back to my days of spending my student years over here. How we used to work, take part in extracurricular activities, be busy all the time. Literally like 8 o'clock lectures, and during Malhar we would go home by 11 in the night, 11:30, working, and I don't know where those 3 years just went by.
That is something Xavier's always does to you. Time just flies by over here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, moving on, can you tell us? You said that you actually developed an interest in 10th standard. So, was that actually like something you did for passion, or like how did that interest come in? Like, did you see someone's painting and you're like, okay, maybe I also want to try it? Was it something that way, or something you did somewhere in your childhood as well that again you picked it up?
So the whole intermediate elementary exams that we had in school, if you've grown up in Bombay in the education system here, I didn't really enjoy that aspect, except a few parts of it I did enjoy. I really liked freehand design and things like that, but the geometry, the memory drawing, I really did not enjoy that. I'm not. But in 10th standard, we actually moved to Powai, and then my mother, she came across this class where they were teaching oil painting, and she just intuitively felt that I would enjoy it. And I was like, art, no, like painting, it's not my thing. But she pushed me. She took me to this class, and I would literally sit through 2 batches at a time without meals, and this was in my summer vacation, and I was just into it completely. I think it was the right teacher, it was the right time. I had time on my hand. There was summer vacation, and my teacher was brilliant. I was doing oil painting, I was learning from her. Initially, we were copying from the masters and making these sort of realistic narrative sort of paintings, and floral and fruits and vegetables, still life basically. So I was really enjoying my time painting. I don't know where the hours would go by. So that's how it just started.
I mean, I can totally relate. I mean, in my ninth or 10th standard, even I was supposed to give my elementary exam, and I hated it to the core. But yeah, we were forced to do it. But I think, yeah, slowly, once you shift, maybe your interest also peaked into a different form of art. So, coming to that, your LinkedIn profile, you call yourself as a photo and collage artist. So, what are the form of arts that you're actually into?
So basically, I'm a photo artist. I combine painting and photography. I do it more digitally. So I scan my drawings. I have a series called Thinking Curves, where it's depicting the fact that humans have a tendency to keep thinking, and they have an ongoing thought process that is continuous. So it's basically about pausing and sort of taking that moment to not think, and then the magic, that's when it begins. That's the concept. So I have these curvy swirls, these swirls and these curvy lines that I use with abstract. I use it with mainly abstract images or abstract watercolors, and I use acrylics or crayons or ink to sort of, and then I scan them and add them digitally on the system, manipulate and sort of superimpose them on the image. Or painting, I do obviously with hand, physically. So that's why it's a collage also, because you're sort of combining different sort of layers onto an image. So that's why I'm a collage artist, and I also do abstract collages. where I'm working with multiple images that I'm sort of juxtaposing together and blending them and coming up with a collage. So that's why I'm a collage artist, and I also do. I've come up with a concept called covenant art, which is about recording the person's journey, which is using graphics and photos together that I create on the system again, which then I depict as a collage art form, which I'm using text, I'm using graphics, I'm using photos, where everything is sort of come together into a collage. That's a very, very pure collage, digital collage artwork, where you're depicting the person's journey based on his answers, based on an interview like this that I've done on social media, live. So I worked with upcoming celebrities and things like that. So I've interviewed them about their careers, their personal lives, what was their journey, what is their mindset to get to where they are, what is their little big moments. So those sort of things we have interviewed, come up with questionnaires and recorded it as an artwork, documented it in a form of an art. So that's why the collage artist. And also paintographs is combining photos and paintings, which is again layering the work. So it's actually a collage, so to say, when you're talking with the photo work. So that's the thing.
Okay, that is interesting. So now, can you tell us something about why did you exactly choose BMS? Because I see that you already had an interest in painting since like 10th grade.
Yeah.
So why did you come then for BMS and then again shift back
So
to
a
painting?
lot of my decisions have been influenced, I would say, by my parents. The painting class was my mother. Photography was also a trip to Africa. They saw a spark in me where I was really passionate about clicking a yawn of a lion in Africa that we spotted, and they they saw that I'm really committed to the task at hand when it came to photography. So BMS was something similar where they realized that it's going to be more project oriented, it's going to be different subjects. So they thought it would be something I would take to well. And I was definitely always interested in something creative. I was interested in doing, actually wanted to become an interior designer or an architect. But I had taken commerce. You needed science at that time for architecture. Uh, but there were very few colleges offering a degree in interior designing at that time when I was studying. So my parents were very keen that I got a degree and not just a diploma. So they said after your degree, you take a good degree, like something that'll keep you busy, something that'll keep you occupied and engaged, and sort of. So they insisted that I would do something like this.
So in the start, you talked about how your work was put up in the Times Square in New York and about your work in the Bangalore International Airport. So can you tell us something more about it? Like, what exactly were you involved in?
So basically, this gallery from Milan approached me, and I had done some work with them in 2021. And then they had a tie up with the Billboard in New York, and they were promoting their exhibition on the Billboard. So they approached me for another show, which was happening in New York this time. They were based in Milan. So the first show I did with them was in Milan. So they have a multimedia gallery where it's an immersive space where it's not a physical space where you come and see, but it's more a virtual show. It's a multimedia gallery. You come and there are screens everywhere. So it's a more of an immersive experience rather than a physical space where you're putting up frames or paintings or whatever. So I liked the concept. It was new age, and it was at the time of COVID, which made a lot of sense where people couldn't go to physical spaces. So it was well timed in 2020. I think, yeah. So that time it was COVID, so it made a lot of sense to do a multimedia show which was more digital and the platform was more digital. Um, but then in 2024, they did a show which they invited me for, which was going to be showcased at Times Square billboard. So obviously, I was very happy to be associated with that kind of platform. So I went ahead. I had already associated with them. They had liked my work. They selected a few of my works that they had seen on social media. So they approached me on my from my work on social media. I emailed some of my work. They selected what they liked, which applied to the theme. And there was a curator assigned. She has spoken about my work on social media. If you want to, go on my page and check out the interview and the explanation and the thought behind the work that was displayed at the Times Square. So we did an earth camp where it was set up and it was broadcast all over the world on their website and on social media. So the work was showcased on the billboard and it was streamed all over the world. There were a lot of artists who were part of it. Um, it was a great experience. And Bangalore International Airport was an open call. I had applied for a photo collage earlier, but that didn't go through. And in 2024, I applied for a photography open call. The theme was daily life of South India, and they wanted images that depicted a typical South Indian sort of scenario. So I had visited Tamil Nadu just in 2023, and I had taken images of temples, Mahabalipuram, Chidambaram, um, Pondicherry. I had visited these places, and there's a lot of South Indian attired, typically attired people who are sprawling around these locations. So I had an image in front of a Rath where there was a delivery boy on a cycle, DTDC, who was just passing. So I had that image. I had a few locals at Mahabalipuram, some interesting candid images, um, and at Shore Temple and at Chidambaram. So they were dressed in their local attire. So it just worked out that the theme and the images that I had. So I applied, I got selected. The whole process took a year, and in 2025, I think May or June, the images were finally put up, printed, framed, and put up.
So how do you go about choosing certain images? Like even if when you said like the theme was about a life in South India, I mean you already had gone for a trip. I mean how do you choose, okay, this picture will go here or this would be the sequence or something like that? How do you go about that process?
It's just about composition and timing. The composition has to be right. Um, no arms have to be cut in a certain way. The architecture has to be well composed. So it's the time of the day. The lighting has to be right. You can't have overhead lighting sometimes when you're shooting people. And the timing, it has to be aesthetically pleasing. The figures have to be placed right in respect to the architecture or the monument, either centrally or on the side, where uh, it's not disturbing but it enhances the image. So it just comes with experience. You're looking at images all the time. I've worked as a commercial photographer. I've worked into weddings as well. So I've gone through so many images in my life. So you just, plus I've studied it professionally. So I have that background. I have that education of what a composition should be like, what works, what doesn't work. I've studied the theory. So these things obviously help you and help you decide what works, what doesn't work, the experience, the education, everything.
So this just reminded me of something. Is that there are two different school of thought about this. It's like some people say that when you photograph a moment, you're not saving that moment. And you as a photographer, you would probably also say that when you're actually capturing a moment, it is something like you're treasuring it for life. You will have that memory. So what do you believe in?
I would say record it if you can. If you can't, just savor it.
Okay. So you have trademarked the term paintograph. So I've seen some of the works which you had put up on LinkedIn. So can you tell us something about it? Like how did you go about the whole thing, and then how did it end up like you trademarking the term itself?
So, like I said, I was traveling, work led to travel, and I was shooting these monuments in Delhi. And I just remember had this idea where I'm shooting Humayun's tomb in Delhi, and there was a light falling from a masjid just next door. Uh, it was time for namaz, and it was evening, and there was this colorful light falling on the tomb, and I was like, okay, there's like colors happening now with the very sort of neutral colors of the tomb, and then there's like these colorful lights on the tomb, and I was like, this is the great idea where I can add my own sort of colors or designs to my photos. Why don't I do this with everything? You know, like it was something that happened in an image, but then it gave me an idea to do it for all my images, that at least what I was going to exhibit or the monuments I was shooting. So then it was just that spark of a moment where I got that idea because of that scenario. And yeah, it was just that. Then I was like, what do I call this? So I was like, just thinking, it's a painting, it's a photo, it's a painting, it's a photo. And I was like, okay, paintograph. So I was like, paintograph, it just came up at that point.
Okay. So what would you tell like young people who actually want to pursue painting or any sort of freelancing or get into art as a field? So if they're just painting at home or something for passion, how do they like grow? How do they network so that they can also have their artwork which is displayed in different art galleries? Like how do they reach out? Like what would be their first step that they have to take?
I think a first step would be to do a good pop up show. There are a lot of pop up shows that happen in the city. Just approach one of the curators. I would say just start going for shows. Go on Instagram, follow these accounts that talk about art shows. I think just start visiting art shows, visit galleries. There are a lot of events that happen like Art Night Thursday, Mumbai Gallery Association, Cape Arte that organizes these walks. There's a lot of other I can't remember the names right now, but there are others also. I mean, I have it on my Instagram, but so they organize these walks. So go for these walks, meet the gallerists, meet the curators, talk about your work, talk about your interest. People are happy to help, honestly. In this city, it's brimming with opportunities. People are going to talk to you, they will help you out, they will give you suggestions. You can email people for feedback initially. um, Email your work, take good pictures. I say collate it well as a nicely designed document, so it's presentable. Use AI to write a good write up about your work. Just put in like basic thoughts about what you thought about while painting or photographing, and then AI can do the work for you, and create a good statement of artist statement, and just have a good artist statement that talks about a personal way of how you presenting your work, why you did this work. Get feedback, see what people are saying, email gallerists, email artists, senior artists. A lot of people will reply, you'll be surprised. People do reply and they do give feedback. I've had that experience when I was starting out. So just start that way. I think it's very important you visit art shows, you keep in touch with people, go for these walkthroughs where the curator or the artist is talking about the exhibition. So you understand what the market is, what people are doing, you're in touch, and that's the best way.
Okay. So in the first segment, we talked about ma'am's career and different paths and different art forms as well. So this segment, let us focus something which the students want to know about. So let us begin with the AI segment coming in. So how do you think AI has actually influenced traditional art? Because with AI, art can just be formed within like a few seconds, a few minutes as well sometimes. So how do you think AI has aided art, or do you think AI is destroying art?
I would say a little bit of both. It's aided art in the sense it's become a little more reasonable for people who want to put up something and they don't want to spend too much and they want to create something that they feel will match their space in a certain way. Say, if it's a clinic and you have something related to the medical thing, you can create something interesting on AI without really going through the process of getting it commissioned or painted. But then again, photography in that sense destroyed painting back in the day, where you needed to paint an image. Now you could just photograph an image. So these things happen, you evolve with time. Um, AI is obviously artificial intelligence. You give a few prompts and you get an image or you get an artwork. So in a way, it is destroying the fact that you need to photograph or paint something to get a result or get some kind of artwork on your wall. But at the same time, it's aiding it as well because you can get a better reference image that you want to paint. If you have an idea, it does aid your painting process, or even if you're talking about photo art or collage art, you can. I have worked with AI with some of, I've experimented, I've not exhibited yet my AI painting and photography. So I've combined photography, painting, and AI in some of my series where I've generated these flowers on AI and added them digitally onto the system again on my work. So it does aid. There can be an added AI element to your work, which can make things quite interesting. So I think it's both.
So now, can you talk about art as a career? So if there is a student who is studying and is just doing freelancing for passion or just for side income, if they want to make that as a complete career for themselves, how do you think they will be able to apply that? Like, is there job stability? Is there enough income or enough opportunities for them? So how is that whole aspect work out?
So I think the market is really getting better every day. I think right now is a good time to be in the space. A lot of opportunities are opening up. A lot of new spaces are opening up where people are putting up works. People want to put more and more artworks. A lot of uh, average income earners also want to put up artworks. So the market is really opening up. There are opportunities. There are more and more galleries coming up. There's a lot of education happening in this field in the city now, which was not really prevalent in, not just as an artist. If you work as an art worker also in the field as a curator or a gallerist, there's a lot of education opportunities in this field now, which was not there. So there are a couple of degree masters, there are a couple of diplomas that are available that you can pursue. I think it's important to pursue an education in the field. If you want to be an artist, a BFA or an MFA, and so like a master's in art history, curatorial studies. There is a couple of institutes in Bangalore and Bombay as well. So I think to study it would be a good idea. It does give you a good platform to begin. You have a good set of people teaching you. You get to the institute makes you interact with the right people, so you get an idea of the industry right away, right there. Uh, there's a lot of practical approaches that are being adapted in the courses now, I would say, compared to earlier. So I would say get an education. There is a lot of opportunities if you have studied. I have not done a BFA or an MFA. I've studied photography independently, and then I've done visual art and photography and also art history. So I have these piecemeal courses that I've done that come together and sort of make me an integrated artist. That it makes sense. But I would say get an MFA, do a master's in fine art. That would be ideal if you want to be an artist. But that would be the ideal way to go ahead, I would say. There's a lot of opportunities for people who've studied the art form. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, again, if you're even not studying and you want to be a self taught artist, there are a lot of opportunities even for self taught artists. Just start going around the city, visiting galleries, like I said, just sort of network around, start talking to people, talk about your work, and make sure you practice everything you're diligently at it. uh, be serious about your work. Don't, I mean, it's very easy to slip. You have to push yourself. It's not like a job where, there's someone on top of your head pushing you to work. You are your own boss in something like this. So you have to push yourself, set a timetable, make sure you work every day. You're practicing, you're either shooting or painting, whatever you take up. Make sure you're at it. Make sure you read a lot. Try to read as much as you can, especially about the subject that you care about. Read about mythology, watch mythological shows. That really helps in art. So, watch those kind of shows, read those kind of books, read about Indian art history, Patha Mitra. There are a lot of books out there. Do your research. I think you're good to start in that respect. Um, it does help to know people in the industry. So reach out to people you know, especially architects, interior designers, gallerists. You can meet very easily when you go for these walkthroughs and these Art Night Thursday walks. So just try doing all of that, and make sure you, if you want to be an artist, try and get a good gallery to represent you, because that's important. I don't know how much you can go keep getting clients on your own. So try and get a good gallery, which will happen over time. Try doing some good pop up shows. If you know any artist, you can reach out to me. I can connect you to certain pop up shows if you want to get started. There are a lot of open calls that happen, so watch out for that. Follow the pages. There's India Art Fair that does this notice board where they talk about all the open calls, not just in Bombay or India, internationally. So apply for open calls. They have a brief. They tell you what they're looking for. So just give them what they need. They ask you for an artist statement or a portfolio or a grant proposal. So, and there's like a lot of tools now. There's AI who can help you with sorting out your grant proposal and things like that. So, I mean, don't rely completely. Do have your own inputs. Think about things. It helps to talk to people who are experienced in the field. So, getting an education, you not just get to know things, but you get to know people in the field whom you can always reach out to later when you're, like trying to make your way and getting your career on track. So yeah, apply to open calls, get an education, network a lot, go to galleries, go to shows, go to opening nights, go through walkthroughs, and keep practicing. That's what I would say.
So, what would you tell like a person who is into this field? What are the different kinds of careers they can have within this field? Like, I think there's something like art curator for galleries, and there are different aspects to it. So, most of the people they only think like, okay, I have to be a proper artist, like I have to paint. That is what means being in this field. So, what are the different career paths which is there in this field?
So you can be a curator, where the curator is basically in charge of selecting what goes up on the wall on a gallery. from the PR to the marketing to selecting what the paintings or the artworks will be to the theme to the write up. Everything is comes under the curator. It's a very big job actually. It's not an easy job. It'll come with experience if you want to be a curator. You can start off as a gallery manager or a sales manager. You can work for a gallery. You can be in the creative department of the gallery, or you can be in the social media. There are a lot of roles. Like any other company, there are like a lot of roles that a gallerist or a gallery where you can work. There are a lot of independent associations where they promote art. So there are a lot of opportunities. There are art fairs that happen. There are again a lot of opportunities. There's India Art Fair. There's Art Mumbai. There's Serendipity Art Festival. There's so a lot of these fairs that happen again where there are a lot of people where you can work in different departments. You can volunteer also on the fair, so you get an idea. There are these associations that organize these walks where you go gallery hopping, once a month. So they organize these walks. You can work for them. Um, you can work as a gallerist, open your own space. There's that. Uh, you can have a website. There's a lot of online art happening. So you can have an online platform where you promote art. You can work for an online platform where you're handling their social media or handling their sales or marketing or finance or accounts or whatever. So, like any company, every art organization also has the same kind of departments where you can take up roles as a gallery manager, as a sales manager, as an accounts manager, finance manager, things like that. So there are a lot of galleries that are doing well who've been around for donkey's years. So those kind of galleries are great to work with. There are auction houses, there are auction art. So those have again a whole different set of roles where you can take up jobs. You can have your own auction house. So I would say again, get an education, or if you want to get into the managerial system or the administrative system, get that kind of education. And I would say study a bit of art history. Even if you don't want to do a master's, do a 1 year diploma or something in art history. So you learn about art, the Indian art scenario, and then you can apply to an auction house, to a gallery, to an association.
Okay. So you said that you have your own company. So how did that essentially come about? That what were your like most difficult times, or what were the greatest challenges you faced?
So the company was started by my father. He wanted to give me a platform. So after I finished while I was studying photography itself, we started the company in 2009, and it just started there. And it was a very good platform. I had a ready team to work with as soon as I passed out of my photography school. So it was a great platform. I had a good setup. I had a good team. I had a good support system. Challenge was that photography in this country is not really as respected as it is today. It wasn't that as much as a well respected career. There were the big brand name photographers who were only recognized, or there were the you know 3,000 rupees a day photographers who are the wedding photographers who are not given as much respect. So to create that sort of awareness that it's a profession that needs craft, it needs skill, it does need some expertise. It's not like you can just pick up a camera and that's all it takes. That's not what it is. It it does require a skill set. It does require an expertise. It does require an experience. It does require a sort of overall molding that you need to go through to be able to take good images. there's composition, there's timing, there's a lot of training that happens to be able to do the kind of work that you can really appreciate. So that sort of awareness to build that within clients and to get a price for the work was a challenge at that point, to sort of command a price that would justify the efforts. So we had to educate the clients that, it's not like I'll give you a camera and you can do what I can do, you know.
Hmm.
So that was a challenge, but I think we've come a long way, and the industry looks a lot brighter. The future seems a lot brighter. Although even in art, it's still a challenge because people feel painted work is more appreciated and more valued rather than photo art because it's digitally done. Digital art does not have that kind of recognition in the country as much as painting or hand done work, either thread work or painted work or sculptures, which is like physical. So that kind of awareness, I think, is still it's still a very niche thing to have a photo cell or a photo art cell. So that aspect needs to still, like, people need to be aware that it's not like anyone can do, just because, especially with the mobile cameras, it becomes challenging because they feel like they have a camera in their hand all the time with the mobile photography. So they feel like, what is the big deal in photography? It's not that. There's a lot of technicality, there's a lot of understanding that goes behind each image that you take when you do it right. So that sort of education, that kind of awareness is still lacking in the country, which I've worked abroad. I've worked in Nairobi. I've worked in London, which is a very different scenario over there, where it's a lot more appreciated, it's a lot more respected, it's a lot more valued as an art form. So that is lacking in the country as of today. But with the kind of institutes that are coming up that are educating students now, there's a lot of awareness about art and culture that's coming up. So I'm really hopeful.
But definitely, I would say the landscape has changed and it is looking upwards, and there are a lot of people coming into this industry, which is really amazing, I feel, which gives a lot of space to different young people as well who want to move into this space. So, now let us move on to the rapid fire questions. So, how would you describe your art style in one word?
Art style, how you describe it?
In one word.
Um, I would say adventurous.
Okay. The next one is, what was your favorite food at the canteen?
I would say idli
Idli.
sambar.
Okay. The next one is, if your life was a color, what color would it be?
Blue.
Why so?
It's my favorite color.
Okay. And is there
I
any?
see things blue. Um, I think when I make, so do a lot of these collage artworks, and then I do the similar composition with different color schemes. So I do the same composition in different colors. So first one I'll make is in blue. So I would say that's my go-to color first, and I pick up from the blue. I then go to different closer to blue shades, which are like purple or mauve. So they're like closer to blue again. So I'm wearing kind of blue today as well. So let's go with blue.
Okay. So now, lastly, this is not a rapid fire question, but this is just like, what would be a generic advice to students? Like
Generic advice
generic
to
advice, like people who are
get
sitting.
off the phone. Don't be so much on the phone. Live a little. Take a little bit of oxygen and sunlight. That's really needed. I think take in more sunlight and oxygen. Go out, travel more. Um, just experiment. There's so many opportunities out there. I'm not saying give up your phone, but definitely try to go outward and inward. outward in terms of traveling and inward in terms of meditation. So I would say I would really wish that people can draw inspiration from within rather than looking outward all the time. I would say try to get ideas that come from inside. Those are the best ideas. Those are the most original ideas. Those are things that the world really needs. So I would say try to go inward, try to be self inspired. So I think that's something that I would really like to see in the future generation. And there's so much you can pick up on from social media. There's so much out there to look at. So I feel like when there's so much out there to look at, there's only one way where you have to go inward to look for inspiration, to look for ideas, to do something different, to do something new, to find your calling. I really wish that the new generation is able to find their calling in life. They really can do what they're really meant to do, what they're good at, what they. I wish to see that people are enjoying their work and they're not just doing it for the money, and they're doing it for a higher cause, not beyond just money and finances, or doing something constructive. There's something a greater meaning to what you're doing.
Okay. So that is it from our side. You've been a wonderful guest, and I'm
Thank
pretty
you.
sure that all of us have taken like a lot of insights from this episode.
Thank you so much.
So thank
It
you
was
for
a
joining
pleasure.
us.